Good day, everyone. I'm quite excited to be presenting this session to you as the instance of the collaboration between TechGen Africa and SchoolsCompass. So I am Nuruddin Shomeku, and I happen to be the CTO at TechGen Africa. So what are these series going to be about? So we are presenting Codelaunch, which is one of the programs that we do at TechGen Africa. And we are going to be presenting a good walkthrough of what Codelaunch is by taking us through the benefits of the Codelaunch program here in this series. So I'm going to be doing it monthly, right? So before I delve more into what today's class is going to be about, which is why code, how to learn to code, and introduction to software engineering, I want everyone to just quickly have a good intro of what TechGen Africa is about and what SchoolsCompass is about. So TechGen Africa is set to empower the next generation of tech innovators. We are doing that to people across all age groups once they are basically literate enough to read and write. So be those graduates that want to be gainfully employed, and especially trying to help kids and teens to have a good and great start into technology, which is what is defining today's society. So that said, the programs we do at TechGen Africa are basically we have the Codelaunch, wherein we take someone that's a newbie and help them to start thinking like a programmer and make them to often be good enough to produce things of value that can make them to even be employed or have several freelance gigs and so on and so forth. Basically, if someone goes through our Codelaunch series for like 6 months, they become good enough to get their entry-level jobs. Now, we have another one, which is the TechGen Scholars Program, which takes it further to make people that have experience writing code already, whether by having gone through our Codelaunch series or by already being practicing software engineers. We take them through an immersive process that makes them understand more like better approaches to building software, even while understanding the leadership and business development skills that makes you to be able to interface properly with the world you are solving problems for, right? So, and the TechGen Scholars Program is a 10-month program. So basically, you can be rest assured that you are dealing with thought leaders that are very committed to your success when it comes to TechGen. We hold ourselves and pride ourselves that nothing short of excellence will be your experience. That said, talking about SchoolsCompass is set to ensure that the process that you as a parent, you as a guardian need to ensure that your children have the very best education according to what your criteria for what that means is. So SchoolsCompass makes that process easier for you, like the process of how would you partner with the right schools and avenues for your children, for your works, to attend the very best schools according to your own criteria. So there is a platform that SchoolsCompass has developed that make all of that easier for you, and SchoolsCompass have partnership with all these schools and avenues such that the information you are getting from them is updated. And like I said already, SchoolsCompass make you to search through this list very easily. So all of that said, I'm very excited to see us jumping right in. So the audience for this series are newbies to programming. So don't start feeling like, are you sure this is for me? Well, it's for everyone. Basically, once you can read and write, it's for you, be you a kid, a teen, or an adult, right? So, and the frequency, like we said, is going to be monthly. We encourage you to anticipate them and make use of the gap in between. So, research more about what we've told you, practice more, and encourage your words more if you happen to be a parent. Of course, nothing stops you from going through the journey with us hands-on as well. So let me just introduce myself a bit before I start jumping into the main contents. So I am Nuruddin Shomeku, and I happen to be the Chief Technology Officer at TechGen Africa. I've had experiences that span physical engineering to software engineering, in many companies locally and globally, like startups, scale-ups, and big, well-established enterprises. So yeah, let's jump right into today's content. So today, the content we are going to be taking us through is what is code? Let's try to get beyond the buzzword and let's relate with what what code is, why we are saying people should learn to code, and then we are going to be saying how do you learn to code. Then we'll take you through software engineering. You know, beyond you knowing about the hobby, which coding can also be, we also want you to see how coding is being done in the real world to solve problems in a reliable manner. And we'll take you through web development, which is one of the platforms that you can make your coding solutions to work on. So we are going to let you see what that entails. Then we introduce you to some resources for learning to code. Then we prepare you for the challenges ahead. And then that's going to be a wrap eventually. So that said, let's get in. So, what's code? So code is a set of instructions that a computer follows to perform a task. And it's made up of various programming languages. So let's start relating with those things that we are familiar with in this definition. So I know many of us are familiar with the fact that computer is an electronic machine. And even our phones, our personal computers, these are various experiences we've had with what a computer is. So when you say a task, like something you want to do, right? Now, let me get you excited about one fact. If you have gold and you don't know it's gold, you'll not be able to, you'll not be interested in making the best use of the gold you have. Now, I was asking some of my students in one initial class that how empowered would you feel if they tell you, for example, that you have 1 million people at your service? Just tell them what to do and they're going to do it for you to the letter. Like, you can always count on them, very reliable. They were like, that would mean like you are very wealthy as a person. Yes, that's the spirit. Now, in today's age of cloud computing, wherein you can have magnitudes of computing resources deployed for your own use at any time. What does this mean? It means when you have series of tasks to do, once you learn how to code, which is the way you instruct computers, the barrier you will have had if I told you have 1 million people at your service, one of the barriers you will have had is if you don't know the language they understand, you'll not be able to utilize them. So they will be there, you'll not be able to utilize them. Now, same thing as computers. Today, beyond the ones you have, computers are across the data centers in the globe. And because we have things like cloud computing that even makes you have access to many more computers, and we also have users across the globe that have these computers, they're not telling you that learning to code will help you to know how you can instruct all of these gadgets that are in their millions and billions of times to do what you want them to do. Now you know why you feel like you have superpowers as programmers, right? Now, when it comes to programming languages, just like human beings, there are a number of programming languages. So when it comes to computers, just like human beings, there are a number of programming languages. So you might have heard of one or the other, and we'll be looking at some of the more popular ones in subsequent slides. So now I believe you now can see code as code is my strategy to making sure that I have a superpower to make computers do tasks for me. And once I know coding, it means I have this superpower of making billions of people to be able, or billions of gadgets to be able to do what I want done for me. Okay, so now let's go to why learn to code. I've given you some ideas, like some tips of the iceberg, but let's put it in more perspective here now. So learning to code comes with many benefits, such as problem-solving skills. So when we say problem-solving skills, even if you are not programming, there is an advantage, an offshoot advantage that comes from any time you go to an activity that helps you to grow your problem-solving skills. And only few activities can match up with how much coding will help you to grow your problem-solving skills. You start then you start becoming more capable. You start becoming more capable of critical thinking when you learn how to code, which is something that will pay you off in any other area of your life, even in your personal life, beyond your career life, beyond your studies and so on. Okay. Also, at the same time, coding helps you to be very creative. So you are going to see how you can use very few things to achieve so much more. You start feeling like you're unstoppable. Yes, when you master coding up to a point, you would see how it really makes you very creative. So, and that creativity also again extends beyond coding. It's something that you will have that feeling of, I can be so creative even when I have stumbling blocks. Like, you're going to have that advantage applied to other areas of your life. And also, there are so much career opportunities. So I believe that many people should know already that some of the best paid people are people that know how to program. And in fact, if programming is going to be a day-to-day job, because programming is becoming one of the major ways that we do things in today's age. It means even for you that you're not a programmer, you're supposed to interface with a programmer so that you can get the dividends of automation to anything you are doing. So in essence, coding helps you directly and indirectly with career opportunities. Indirectly because coding is a literacy, and you always thank yourself for having this additional literacy to your basic literacy skills like reading and writing. So also popular programming languages like Python, JavaScript, and Ruby, they have different uses and are definitely used in real world applications. So this is what I was saying about the other time about some of the programming languages you have. Some of the most popular ones are like Python, Ruby, TypeScript, JavaScript, and so on and so forth. So that's it. Coding is a literacy. Coding gives you high-paying jobs, and coding helps you to create new problems to societal issues, which can help you to become an entrepreneur in very long terms. So how do you learn to code? Now that I've told you what coding is and why you should learn to code. So talking about how to learn to code, there are many ways to it, and these include online courses, coding boot camps, and even self-study. And each has its pros and cons. So you see, the thing is, in a way, you are probably going to be balancing the number of approaches when it comes to learning how to code. And that's because there are some things that nobody can help you to do those parts. So it's like, for example, if I want to teach someone to drive, so why there's going to be a benefit to having an instructor, and I mean, beyond the benefits, if you're not someone that's exceptional, if you go and self-learn driving, there is a good amount of probability, for example, that you can end up, getting into an accident, right? And when it comes to coding, well, one of the great things that makes me happy about coding is the fact that it gives you a safe space for practice. But then it's going to be at the cost of your mental health if you're not being careful. So when I say at the cost of your mental health, coding can be hard and fast. This means if you don't do things the way they should be done, they will not work out. And in this process, you can get frustrated, right? So this is how you having well-seasoned instructors that know where the landmines are, where the tipping points are, where the issues can arise. People that know it ahead, they've gone through it, they've mastered it. So you can get very great advantages from them, helping you just to get the right balance of guiding you and challenging you. Now that challenging you is very important. There's no substitute for it. So that's the self-study part. There are some very few exceptional people that can even probably self-study on their own. But for most of us, we are better off being walked through this journey by the veterans in the space, and that's where opportunities like TechGen Africa programs come into place. Okay, so that's basically it. Always balance guidance with challenge. So, and the tips for beginners include starting with a simple project, practicing regularly. This practicing regularly is very important. I mean, there is an amount and frequency of practice you need before something will become your second nature. which is something you are trying to attain with programming. You want it to become a second nature. That's the way you'll be able to think very creatively with it without being, faced with too many obstacles. So, and this again reinforces some of the benefits of TechGen Africa. We have coding communities wherein you can always get people to help you with the challenges and make you to progress to the next stage without giving up. Okay, so these are the tips for beginners. Start simple, practice regularly, be in a community of those that are ready to support you. Yeah. So that said, we'll be moving on to the next slide, which is talking about the introduction to software engineering. Because, I want us to see how all of this comes together to create usable products like those you are using, like the products you are using to watch me present this session, record and present this session. Okay, how do different professionals come together to create software? That's what software engineering is trying to let us see. How do we create software? So software engineering is the process of designing, developing, and maintaining software systems. So, and there is something we call the software development life cycle. So it consists of phases like planning. So in this planning stage, you'll have to identify what are the gaps the software is trying to fulfill. You have the design stage. This design stage, again, shows how you now plan out the solution. And this takes me to some allied disciplines that are around software engineering, or let's say related disciplines around software engineering. So, things like planning and design, for example, you have product managers and you have UI UX designers coming together to also help at this stage. And like I mentioned with TechGen Scholars program, then you also try to produce product engineers. These engineers also know the process of the design thinking and how you do the planning of the resources, the time planning for you to do the actual stuff you want to build, and then manage expectations of different stakeholders better. So you also talk about the actual development, that the building out of the code itself, writing out the code itself. Then the testing. There is one saying in software: if you don't test it, don't trust it. Don't trust it. I think it applies to many other areas in life, but it's very much more important in programming because our job is never done. We always have to do additional features or correct some bugs, which is your code behaving other than how you expected. And that makes testing to be very important because beyond what you are building now, you also want to ensure that what you built before is still working as expected. So a standard SDLC process, if you're not going through a mushroom company that's doing all what they are doing haphazardly, testing is non-negotiable. Okay, and the deployment is what makes what you be building in your computer to be somewhere on some cloud computers wherein your end users can now access it. So you should have asked that, okay, then you build the software on your own computer, for example. So how do I get to use my phone or my own laptop and so on? That's because I've deployed it to some cloud computers that you can now go to an address and access them there via the internet. Okay, that's it about software engineering. I mean, it's one of the cash cows of today. Yeah. So let's get into what web development is. Now, this is it. Web development is a very critical aspect of today's tech industry. See, guys, I'm very, very enthusiastic when I'm trying to tell people about what web development entails, what its potential means, So let's put it this way. Whether you are using a Windows PC or you are using a MacBook or you are using a Linux-based PC like Ubuntu, or talking about phones, let's say you are using Android, or if you like, you are using an iPhone, whatever you are using, the fact you will have agreed with me upon is that you can go to a web address from any of these. So web development helps you to be able to develop solutions that can be used across all gadgets and devices across all places. And that's great for ubiquity. One of the great things about program is the fact that what we build can be used in so many more places. So web development makes sure that you're not limited to say, okay, what you build can only be used on Android, but it can only be used here and not there, and so on and so forth. So that said, front end, so web development basically has two main areas, the front end and the back end. So the front end is what the user sees. The back end is where the main logic and the data storage happens. So all of what we are seeing, for example, is just front end, whereas there are many things in the back that helps all of this to happen, and that's what the back end is basically. So in subsequent sessions, we are going to be going more into the front end, and if time permits, we go into the back end definitely, of course, as well. Okay. So that said, we move from there to the resources you can use when you are learning, trying to learn to code. So there are online learning platforms, and online learning platforms, again, is one of the dividends that technology has come to give us, that coding has come to give us. So what do I mean by that? You are no more constrained to being in a physical location before you can learn what you want to learn at this age. Programming makes that happen. So why wouldn't we as programmers use what we've given to other fields for them to be able to teach in that field? Why wouldn't we use it for ourselves as programmers, right? So definitely we have used it for ourselves. And this means if you are trying to learn to code, there are online learning platforms that can help you to master coding, give you the community of your co-learners, of your instructors that you learn along with. So, and I'm going to be talking about some like TechGen Africa. TechGen Africa pairs you up even with tutors for live classes, and you'll also have some self-paced classes as well. So Codecademy gives you like many self-paced courses as well. Udemy, many pre-recorded videos. Khan Academy also gives you some of these resources as well. So the thing about how great TechGen Africa is especially is that with TechGen Africa, you can expect that you would be taken in a way that's very localized, especially if you are coming from Africa, coming from Nigeria. You can have people that can relate with some of the peculiarities you are going to be facing on your journey. And, you know, it can't get more customized than that. And the guys doing it are definitely those that have accumulated experiences from the local to global terrain. Okay. So also, you have some coding communities you have to be a part of as a programmer. Like talk about stuff like GitHub, Stack Overflow. You know, with GitHub, this is one of the solutions where you can use to store your code so that if your computer crashes, you'll not be crying that I've lost all my code. And also with something like GitHub, you can easily collaborate with many more developers when you are working on a particular project, because it helps you to version and helps you to collaborate with your team members. Okay, so you have Stack Overflow, wherein people ask questions generally and they get answers generally as well. Okay, so these are some very great things that if you are coming to TechGen Africa, for example, you are definitely going to be told that you should create accounts with some of these places like GitHub and Stack Overflow, because it just makes you to utilize all of the resources at your disposal to make you play the A game. Yeah. So, and of course, as well, I think I've heard of a saying that goes like, if you try to motivate people with everything and it's not working, what is resource to finally is make them compete. You know, when you're competing, it makes you see that, oh, so someone can do it this much, so let me get better as well. Of course, don't be intimidated, but definitely challenging yourself with things like competitions in the name of hackathons are some of the ways you get better. And you get some of these things also when you're part of a fantastic community. Okay, so, and there are many opportunities that also come with this, that there can be prizes, you build your portfolio better to demonstrate what you're capable of. Okay, so, and at TechGen, we are going to be organizing some of these hackathons or competitions down the road as well. So now I'm using red here intentionally to tell you that you don't have to be scared. Okay, so everybody is a beginner definitely at one point in their journey. So, and what you should know is when someone tells you that, are you just starting? Do you have a chance? Some people have been here all the while. Forget all of those. Things are changing very fast in this field. Even for people that have been around all the while, they often see themselves having to relearn over and over again. So you stand a very good chance. So imposter syndrome is something that makes you feel like you are a fraud and others are the ones that are entitled to do something. And it's an offshoot of having a fixed mentality. So come on, guys, have a growth mentality, which can be summarized as the fact that wherever you are, wherever stage you are today, you can always get better. And apart from getting better with that thing, your ability to learn will also get better immediately once you keep on learning something. So you see, for example, imagine someone feeling like this stuff is hard. That's fine. Some things can be hard. And what's hard is what you don't know. By the time you approach it gradually, which is what we do at TechGen Africa, we endeavor to break things down so the, bite-sized amount in bite sizes that you can take, you can bite or chew at once, right? So, and before you know it, you are going to be there. So, and you should always hope like, okay, I can get it fixed. But when you start feeling like some consequences are going to happen, you're never going to do it, that's not true. That's never true, okay? So be prepared ahead that it can be challenges, but like others have scaled through them, you can also scale through them, especially when you also have a community to support you. So wrapping up, today we've discussed the definition of code, we've seen the benefits of learning to code, we've talked about some what software engineering entails, basically what web development entails, and we've prepared you to get determined for the journey ahead. So I'm going to be encouraging you all to continue learning and practicing using additional coding resources, be them books, podcasts, or meetups. So next month, the Codelaunch series will cover the topic of responsive web design in an hands-on manner, starting with HTML and CSS, and I definitely hope to see you all there. Cheers, guys. Thanks for having me. Yeah.